This morning, the NTSB is releasing the findings of its investigation onto last year's deadly Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. And President Donald Trump touted hundreds of billions of dollars in the new deals with the United States.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Welcome to Mountain News This Morning. I'm Neely Green here with you on this Thursday, November 20th. The time is now 4:59. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmal for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, it wasn't too terrible when I left the house this morning. It was chilly, but it was bearable.
Yeah, I've got to say this is one of the best mornings that I've had. Walking out of my door, it felt great. I didn't need gloves or anything. I didn't need to preheat my car. Just went on my merry way. So those temperatures are great. However, we're still dealing with that fog, very similar to yesterday. Dense patchy fog for a lot of eastern Kentucky this morning. So just keep an eye out as you're heading out for the day. Now, in terms of rain chances, all of that has cleared out. We're just still hanging on to some cloud cover. Mostly cloudy skies will be your forecast, but as we head into the evening hours, we're looking at chances for widespread heavy rain returning. But before we get there, let's talk about those temperatures. 50s this morning, very comfortable. This afternoon, we'll be seeing a mixture of the upper 50s to low 60s with the high temperature for the day as we're approaching the early afternoon between 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Again, cloudy skies for most of the day, but we do have those rain chances popping up around that 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock time frame. Neely.
Megan, thank you. The NTSB is releasing the findings of its investigation on the last year's deadly Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore. They say multiple power outages on the Dally led to the ship striking the bridge's southern pier, which then collapsed. 6 construction workers were killed, and officials found an electrical breaker on the ship tripped, causing the blackout. Investigators also found the bridge was not rated for impact with modern vessels. Former FBI Director James Comey was back in court asking that the Department of Justice's case against him be dismissed. WYMT's Washington correspondent Katrin Asif has more on the key findings yesterday.
A courtroom bombshell as the Department of Justice reveals the full grand jury that charged former FBI Director James Comey never saw the final indictment against him.
That reveal coming from President Donald Trump's hand-picked interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan during questioning Wednesday morning. She and Comey were both before a judge as he pushed for the 2 charges against him levied in September be tossed out. The Department of Justice accuses the former FBI director of lying during a 2020 hearing about whether he authorized leaks to the press. Comey has pleaded not guilty and claims the indictment is instead a selective and vindictive directive by President Trump against someone he sees as a political enemy. The big headline from Wednesday's hearing was that heated back and forth between Halligan and the judge, with her admitting only 2 grand jurors reviewed the final indictment after changes were made. Comey's lawyers say the lapse is grounds for dismissal. The bombshell comes just 2 days after Halligan was first criticized for her handling of the case, with a judge citing a disturbing pattern of profound investigative missteps, including accessing old evidence without a new court-approved search warrant.
The Department of Justice has been ordered to respond to Wednesday's happenings in a filing by the end of the day. No immediate ruling was issued. In Washington, I'm Katrin Asaf.
President Trump says he has made good on his promise to sign the bill calling for the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Now the Department of Justice has 1 month to comply, though legal experts say a new investigation could lead to some delays. The president has called the Epstein scandal a hoax, but at the same time is trying to tie the deceased sex offender to some high-profile Democrats.
I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, but you know who does have? Bill Clinton. Larry Summers.
Former President Bill Clinton also denies having knowledge of Epstein's crimes, and there's no evidence of illegal conduct by former President Clinton Treasury Secretary Larry Summers. But this week, Summers did announce he's stepping back from teaching at Harvard University and resigning from OpenAI's board after the House released dozens of messages between him and Epstein. In a room full of investors at the Kennedy Center in Washington, President Trump touted hundreds of billions of dollars in new deals with the United States. Wednesday, the U.S. and Saudi Arabia announced a partnership to expand the use of AI and build new AI infrastructures in both companies. And with the head of the NVIDIA computer chips company in the room, the president acknowledged a need for foreign workers to teach Americans how to make the chips.
My message to all of the leaders and investors with us today, and they are the best in the world, is very simple. Under the Trump administration, America is back and America is open for business.
The U.S. and Saudi Arabia are also boosting partnership in more traditional industries, including oil and gas. In addition to the sale of military equipment, the U.S. designated Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally. A former FBI employee sued the Justice Department, the Attorney General, and the FBI Director, hoping to get his job back. David Malinsky, who is gay, claims his long career ended abruptly over a pride flag he displayed at his workstation. After years of service with commendations, the Bureau told Malinsky he was let go because of a, quote, inappropriate display of political signage in his work area. Malinsky argues his firing amounts to discrimination. The FBI would not comment on the suit. First Lady Melania Trump and Yusha Vance, the Second Lady, visited personnel at the Camp Luverne Marine Corps in North Carolina yesterday. During their visit to the base, the First and Second Lady spoke with students about artificial intelligence and spent time with younger school children. Later, they addressed a gathering of service members and their families and wished everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Because you and military families are behind our nation's defense, and thank you for your service. My husband, the president, is sending best regards. We are both thinking of you, and you're in our thoughts and prayers for holidays every day, but especially for the holidays. And I see here you packed care packages for some of the loved ones, but for other service members. So thank you for that.
The First Lady wished the audience a happy Thanksgiving and said they would be welcome if they visited the White House. Former Vice President Dick Cheney will be laid to rest on Thursday. Cheney died earlier this month after battling pneumonia along with cardiac and vascular disease. Cheney served in the White House with President George W. Bush for 2 terms between 2001 and 2009. In recent years, he became a harsh critic of President Donald Trump, even voting for Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. Former President Joe Biden is expected to attend the service. Exercise may be one of the best ways to prevent dementia. That's according to a new Boston University study found people with the highest levels of physical activity during midlife and old age had more than 40% lower chance of developing dementia. People who only exercised before the age of 36 didn't get the same benefit. Researchers say that shows how critical it is to stay fit throughout your entire life. Ultra-processed foods may cause young adults to snack even when they're completely full. Researchers at Virginia Tech found people ages 18 to 21 are particularly vulnerable to the negative effects of ultra-processed foods. Snacking when you're not hungry is linked to weight gain, and recent studies predict 1 in 3 young Americans will be obese by the year 2050. Thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. We'll introduce you to Tate, a 10-year-old in McGoffin County sharing the gospel through his ministry. We'll have those details.
And we are talking rain and storm chances for the remainder of your week.